Welcome back to the watch. Oh, I don't know what they're doing, Shad. I don't know. I mean, we're gonna go through what they're doing, but
why? We know why. It's just it's getting so tired now.
Yeah, we need a reaction other than like, why? What are they doing? Because we know, but we're still questioning the fact that why.
It is the most pathetic cope ever. What are we talking about? Okay, so Rings of Power has been released. It is awful. We have in-depth reviews on it,
and they are long because of how many things are wrong with it.
Oh my goodness! I'm half tempted that we might need to do like shorter reviews to try and condense some of it. But if you want to cover everything and how bad it is, it takes us 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's that big, right?
The list is that long,
and the way that Amazon has decided to try and deflect criticisms and cope with how bad their show is that everyone must be racist.
They stop reviews for the first few days for 72 hours because, hey, I mean, we've got comments here saying how the racist fans have turned from racist comments into just review bombing the show. But yeah, so they stop people from saying it's bad because they don't want criticisms, and then they deflect by saying, everyone, you're racist for not liking the show.
We've seen it again and again.
Yeah.
Disney has done it. Like Marvel, of course. Well, Marvel's Disney, but
yeah. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't if there was proof. It wouldn't be very nice to show the proof. But the fact that they're, we've talked about it before. With the reviews of the show, we're not calling out anything to do with their race or their gender. It's the fact that the story and plot is nonsense, and the things that they do and say is dumb. Nothing to do with what you're talking about.
And what I love, the thing that just disproves their narrative, that everyone must be racist, so bad everything, is House of the Dragon. Okay?
Yeah.
There was equal amount of objection to changing the look of certain characters in House of the Dragon as we saw in Rings of Power, all right? Now, the reason why people object about this is because it reveals that they're usually prioritizing certain agendas over good storytelling. And so we don't like that. Also, we like the source material adapted as it is. We don't, and so when we see these, castings, it's a big sign of a woke agenda, essentially. But when the property comes out, most people, when I say most, the vast majority of them judges it on its merits. They don't simply say, this is bad because it has a black actor in it.
Yeah.
Because if so, House of the Dragons would get review bombed and everyone would be hating it. But no, people are really liking House of the Dragon because when it comes out, we'll see if the warning signs were true. And diversity casting, for the sake of and not just being true to the source material, that's a warning sign, okay? But then we see if the warning signs are true, which means they're prioritizing agenda over story, but the way you judge that is by judging the story, okay? And guess what? House of the Dragon, far from having agenda, it's actually not only well made, it's quite balanced and nuanced in its depictions of many things. And even the people trying to co-opt it to push an agenda, the showrunners, one's being left the project as well, but even the actors and everything, they're contradicting what the narrative of the show is even saying, when they say, this is pushing this message, and it's like, we look at it, no, it's not. It's not at all. And so even when people are, like, it has, like, really progressive, woke, ideologically possessed people even part of the show, and that hasn't even stopped people praising the show because it's just a good show. We judge it on its merits. Okay.
Now, there's one rebuttal I want to give, though, because I've heard comments online saying, that's because there's only one black character in House of Dragon, and he's a villain, whereas in Rings of Power, you got a more main cast that are of different colours.
There's several black characters in Rings of Power. Well, in House of the Dragon.
But also, right, they're saying, because they're villains and it's only one character. Kenobi. One black actress, villain. What's your point? They came out saying, how dare you! So, that's just a rebuttal, because I know people out there are going to be like, no, but like House of Dragon is different from Rings of Power because of this one obscure thing, but then we have examples of that same obscure thing coming out being an issue, but it's not an issue with House of the Dragons because it's a good show.
Exactly.
But Kenobi, Rings of Power, not good.
And the thing is, there's actually multiple, black-skinned actors in House of the Dragon. So the main guy is the head of the family, but he's got a son who's going to be playing a very prominent role in episode 5 coming out, and is, of course, a person of colour. And in episode 3, we saw, his family and the big battle, and a lot of the, primary guys who were hacking people up with the best armour with the leaders of that house. And guess what? They were dark-skinned, and episode 3 is one of the highest praised episodes of the show so far. And so it's just bullcrap when they're like, it's only one. No, it ruins their narrative completely. Because if people were just review bombing and hating show because of diversity casting, they would hate House of the Dragon, and they're not. It's actually well made. And so when they say Rings of Power is just being review bombed because of... No, it's because it's awful. It's legitimately an awful show. And this is the thing, right? We have gone into this. We've watched it. We have taken copious amounts of notes. We've reviewed it. We've done 3... I think every review has been 3 hours long.
Close to, the mark.
My honest rating is between a 0 and a 2 for this show, okay? I'm not kidding. It's that bad. But if I left my review on the review sites and everything, they would block my review as review bombing when it's an honest, legitimate review that is done after hours of analysis.
Yeah. You could say things like the pacing's off, the dialogue's bad, there's plot holes, or just the way that anything that would be substantial in a criticism, and they'd be like none of that.
This is their mindset. They honestly think their show is either above criticism or so good that any negative review must be a disingenuous troll review bomb. No one could hate our show that much. Go watch our reviews. We can, because it's that friggin' bad. But they honestly think that they're all fake, they're all review bombs, and they blocked people reviewing. It's utter, sheer hubris, arrogance.
Yeah, it just shows the lack of confidence they have in their work as well, because they're so afraid for anyone to point out any of their flaws. George Lucas, when he did episode 1, 2, and 3, it was, first one he was like, you know what? Not my best work. I admit it. I love it. Was it good? And Spielberg, all those bigger, big names, they admit when they did something wrong, when they stuffed up. But they cannot even take a review on the internet poorly. It just shows the lack of confidence they have in their work.
And seriously, there are layers to how just despicable this whole thing is. Because, look, I think it is possible for people to like this show. They don't have I'll just say they have interesting standards if they think this show is a 10 out of 10. Because, wow, okay. But if you have a look at the reviews, there are some of the most vapid, bot-like, reviews for 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5. So great, would watch again, masterpiece, brilliant.
Almost like those made by bots. Is that review bombing, though?
It is. It's positive review bombing. But they're fine with that. Hypocrites.
Oh, I see the hypocrisy there.
Utter, complete hypocrites. So, in my mind, if it's getting positive review bombed, even I haven't seen... Because I think it's legitimately bad... I actually feel the 1 out of 10s and 2 out of 10s are some of the most honest and objective reviews of this media, and it gives far higher chances that those aren't actual bots and just review bombs, that those are legitimate reviews of the show and just being objective about it. That just gives me the impression that those are the honest ones and the fake ones are the 10 out of 10s, because this show is not a 10 out of 10. So there's that. But then, okay, they're trying to say that people are downvoting it and everything because racism and all that. Where? Where are these receipts? Where's all the evidence? They're just saying this is happening. And have they produced even a single thing? And even if they do produce... I get the feeling they could produce a couple, but my exposure for the reaction and response and reviews of Rings of Power is that every review that I've seen that's been negative has not mentioned race.
Yeah.
And more often, they say one of their, like, least worst parts about it, some even say their favourite parts, was the part with the character that has the diverse casting. Deezer, the Black Dwarf, they say, like, in terms of the actress has been just, horrible in terms of pushing an agenda, but her performance was the best in the show. They've actually been praising the diverse, cast character in the show in their negative reviews, which is the exact opposite of people trying to say they're hating it because of racism.
Yeah.
That's the best part of it. I can't believe it. And so I have not seen a single thing people saying, oh, it's bad because it has black actors. Where? Find me a single negative review that has over 1,000 views anywhere on YouTube, right? That has people saying it's bad because of the diversity casting. Find me one. And even if you're able to, scrounge the internet, find one, all right, weigh that up against all the other reviews, and it's it's bullcrap. This show is not being hated because of the diversity casting. It's being hated because it's an awful show.
So they posted this tweet saying, "We stand in solidarity with our cast. # you're all welcome here." And then that wasn't the end-all be-all. See, with their marketing, it's been very interesting because up until now, I thought it wasn't from Tolkien fans. It was for those who watched Oprah and in the middle of the day TV soap operas. We've seen the marketing campaign.
Look at the Days of the Lives. They're turning to the camera.
That is not for hardcore Tolkien fans, or people who liked the Peter Jackson trilogy. That is for someone completely different. But now, they've got the original cast on board with this as well.
Yeah, I saw this. Either they do not know what's been going on, they've just only heard the reports and they haven't queried it, or they're getting paid.
Yeah. Or I reckon it's just part of, being a celebrity. You've got to put the right message in with people, otherwise you won't get any jobs, which you need as an actor.
I actually think that's an extremely valid point. Amazon is producing a lot of content, and if you want to get hired by them, they're not going to be hiring people or working with people that are particularly critical of, they're just playing the game.
Basically, yeah. Or, they were approached and then they're like, I don't want to. And they'll be like, oh, so you are racist. You don't want to get involved? Just proving our point? So I reckon,
So what I love is people have just pointed out even though they're in line of height as well, they're also in line of expression. The guy, he's like, I believe in this. And then Elijah Wood's like, I'm just getting paid. And then Lars is like, kill me. I can't believe I'm here.
Just the level. And then as well, we have good old Samwise as well.
Of course. Yeah. He doesn't surprise. He's been a bit of an activist and he has weird views anyway. So many people in Hollywood are just detached from reality.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, part of following trends as well and doing what the right thing is to do in the space that they're in. Just a lot of that, obviously he saw his other co-cast members doing this and he went, oh,
don't want to get left out.
So anyway, this happened. And you think, you know what? It makes sense. Rings of Power, lots of racist talk. Of course they bring this up, but this isn't the first time they've done this, Shad.
Oh.
In really? Pop culture, as of late either.
As of late?
No.
Are you talking about these cast members specifically?
Not these cast members, but just this tactic.
Oh, yeah.
Of TV show, movie bad, deflecting it all, and saying that you're racist.
Of course.
Because you know what happened? It's so ironic with this original tweet from Rings of Power. Star Wars themselves have done this before, and in the original tweet, they also commented on the post saying, we also welcome everyone.
This is just such cope. Reva in Obi-Wan was an awful character. Unlikable, contradictory with a character arc, horrible in the choreography and fights and everything. She just... I cut her from the entire show and would have made it better. But no, you can't criticize her because she's black. Since when can't you criticize a poorly written character? And the thing is, though, I was mostly criticizing the character, the writing, the depiction, not the actress. I'm sure she's probably done a fine job in other things.
Yeah, I think she was in Queen's Gambit or something. The Netflix. Anyway, she's done good work in the past.
But the the actual character of Reva is friggin' awful, despicable. I hate her.
And the direction of Kenobi was not good either. There were so many plot holes we figured, like from engines not working, using different ships,
It was
space chases that don't make any sense. Like that. Reva wasn't the problem. Like even the way that they made Kenobi just whiny and Leia and know-it-all. Like there was so many other issues. And so yeah, Star Wars themselves came out and said, from Middle Earth to a galaxy far, far away, you are all welcome.
But not everyone's welcome.
No.
No.
Well, it's funny.
They don't like traditional Star Wars fans. They're not welcome. They like Lord of the Rings. Rings of Power. They don't like traditional Tolkien fans and everything. Heck, they wouldn't even think Tolkien was welcome here because he would hate what they're doing.
It's not on this one here on our screen, but there are comments on this tweet saying, well, what about Gina Carano? Gina was excluded.
Yeah, is she welcome?
No, she's not. She's not welcome. She's not welcome, Shad.
Yeah, and what she said was nowhere near as politically divisive as what Pedro Pascal said, who was the main cast member of that show. And because it was a tiny bit right of centre, and it wasn't like you'd think what she said, right, would be common sense for everyone, no matter their political affiliation, right? It's insane. We are in a clown world, right? But this is bullcrap. They don't believe everyone's welcome here. They despise like people like us. Truly, if you're any views that are even mildly right of centre or right of the left at the moment, they think you are an awful, awful person. Like some of the things they say about conservatives and Christians is the most vile things, right? You don't think I'm welcome at all.
And you know what else is the hypocrisy with this is they say everyone's welcome, we resist to racism and whatever. Well, in the past, though, Disney has been racist.
Yeah.
Like here, with Black Panther, they put a mask on him for the Chinese release.
Yeah, why are they covering his face in China, Disney? Why
And with Force Awakens...
Oh, Finn! Where did Finn go from the trailer, Disney?
God forever!
Friggin' hypocrites.
And he got backlash, I'm pretty sure, as well, when the show came out. Not a peep from them until either the show was bad or they needed something to attach
Finn was one of the better elements of...
He was a good character.
Yeah, we wanted him to have a good arc, him to become the Jedi and everything. They did such a disservice to Finn. And so to see Disney Star Wars come out in solidarity with Rings of Power...
when resisting racism when...
They are racist. They're racist hypocrites. Yeah. And this shows that's the mask off, right? Everyone should realise that this isn't about virtue. It's about money. They think, because they believe Twitter reflects the real world, that most people are in line with this. And it's like, no, they're not. And that's why they are, like, losing heaps of money. And they have disillusioned so much of a potential audience. But even if they didn't do this, right, it wouldn't change the fact that Rings of Power is an absolutely crap show. Awfully written and everything. And anyone who, like, this is the thing, even people, right, and I saw this with The Wheel of Time, even people who are, like, converted because of the representation, has my representation and pushing the line, and look at them, these virtue signals where they're against bigotry, that means I like them because I'm against bigotry too and everything like that. They don't stick through because the show isn't good enough to keep them around. They get bored with it and everything.
Yeah.
And... you know, you're courting an audience that isn't even, like, fans of the genre. Okay? So they are failing massively.
And just like when I was going through this, I'm trying to figure out, okay, let's find, because whenever this happens, all the articles take hold of it. They go, oh, clickbait, great! I mean, we're kind of doing it now as well, this video.
But we'll use it against them.
But when you read these articles, there's no substance. Like this Hollywood Reporter one, shortest article I think we've ever read on Rings of Power. And it basically just says that, like, Tolkien created a world, you know, with lots of cultures and things, so they should be included. It's really mean that people are being mean. That's it.
Yeah, it's basically, I stand with good thing, bad thing is bad, so we are virtuous and good, praise me. And
then one of the articles, they even try to direct the criticisms of the show, saying that since the show's premiere, the trolling aimed to the actors has since transformed into review bombing campaigns of the series. So people have gone from trolling the actors to review bombing the show.
I would say prove that it's review bombing. Like, from my objective analysis of the show, the low reviews are the most honest and objective ones.
And prove that the people who are trolling the actors are also the ones giving bad reviews.
Exactly. Where's that connection?
Yeah. And so, I mean, this is just all a very, very big deflection on the actual criticisms of the show. And they're sacrificing these actors on a pedestal for their own...
They're using these actors that are of any number of communities, right, as shields. Valid criticism against Rings of Power. Quickly, let's throw our people of colour... they're attacking them. And it's pretty despicable.
Yeah. We were a bit confused at the start, but it makes sense now why they cast those people. I went to the... Amazon Diversity Playbook, Shad. And oh boy, there are some requirements now when you're making a show.
We might need to say that for a separate video.
Okay.
Because that might require... let's go through what they say. Cause...
Basically, there's percentages, and if you don't do that, show doesn't happen.
Oh, my goodness.
So, look, I'll give the creators and stuff benefit of the doubt, even though they're also hired by diversity now as well. You got these requirements as a big organisation. The fact is, though, that fans of the show aren't thinking or doing these things when it comes to the whole racist thoughts and actions, really. We're all just criticising everything else. They're just deflecting it. And we've seen it as well, to say this isn't the first time this has happened, okay? So there was Kenobi with Reva and those articles, and we were coming out saying, you guys shouldn't be racist, yada, yada, yada. I'm a producer here. Obviously wants to cover his back for how bad that TV show was, because if you want to see my reaction to it, go ahead and watch them.
Watch our reviews.
Breaks me. But also with She-Hulk and the CGI, criticisms to that wasn't, you're right, it looks bad, it's... No, of course, everyone owns woman, and it's sexist because everyone wants to own a woman's body.
Yeah. They legitimately tried to say the criticism of the CGI was a manifestation of the patriarchal, sexist notion that men have with their desire to control women's bodies. That's insane speech right there. You're crazy.
Her face just looks weird. That's all it was.
It was just bad CGI. We criticised the bad CGI in Thor: Love and Thunder. Were we trying to control Korg's body? It's bullcrap. No. It's utter bullcrap. As soon as you devote any level of logical consistency to these arguments, they fall apart. And that's why, look, this is the defence, right? They're not going to win. They'll convince the people who are already convinced of this stuff, but as soon as regular people who aren't really aware, they might come across some of these articles, and they might be fooled, right? But then if they just watch a true review or watch the show and realise how bad it is.
No, people understand substance subconsciously. I have family who, obviously, they know me now as the more critical person, and so every time they say, oh, I like this thing, I'll just look at them and go, why did you like this thing? But I've noticed now, with She-Hulk, people in my family do not like She-Hulk because they're like, it's just catering to this the specific type of people. There's no substance to it. They're like, man, I want to go back and watch Avengers and stuff, the good stuff. People recognise quality. Yes. Subconsciously, so they know.
And even if they think they like it, right, the truly good media, and this is where Rings of Power will fail tremendously, right? The truly good media is remembered. Yeah. It has a special place in your heart because it moved you on an emotional level, and it's the type of media that you want your kids to watch, right? My kids watched the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy at my mother's place the other day, right? Because it is something special. We want our children... I won't even... Not even, let alone me watching and passing on to my kids, even this first generation, I'm not, my kids don't bother with it, they won't be watching Rings of Power because it's that bad, and then they won't pass it on, and even people who think they love it, right? It's not going to move. It's not going to be something that'll stick with them for their lives or they want to pass on. This is why it'll die, They'll
just move on to the next thing because that's what they basically
That's
are
what Disney's been doing.
They're a content machine. Yeah. Nothing is memorable anymore. It's just all the same.
Who's going to remember the Kenobi show? We're not going to be passing on Kenobi to our kids, but Star Wars, the original trilogy, that has survived how many generations?
And it's still good.
I mean, you weren't even alive when it came out. You're a perfect example. Neither was I, by the way. My dad showed me Star Wars.
It was about 20 years after I was born. Or
20 years before
I was born. It was 20 years after Star Wars came out that I was born.
Yeah.
But even then, grew up watching A New Hope, and every bloody time in that trench run, it's so good even now.
See?
Where Kenobi, even like Mandalorian, not many iconic scenes in that show, unfortunately.
Though Baby Yoda will go on for a while.
Baby Yoda, yeah.
I think that'll catch.
That will catch. That will definitely stay on. But, all these other shows and stuff we're seeing.
Like the Loki TV show, all the Marvel recent ones, and especially She-Hulk right now, and then Rings of Power. This will be forgotten. It's sludge. There's nothing truly ennobling, uplifting, special about this. And so even those people who say, I love it, 10 out of 10, cinematic masterpiece, they'll forget about it because it's hollow. All right? It's crap. The show is crap. It's not going to live on. And so this defense, it'll fail, right? And then there'll be people like us calling it out for what it is.
Because you remember Halo TV show? You forgot about it, didn't you?
Yeah, I forgot about it.
You forgot about that, yeah.
And then when I remember, it just brings me pain. It's like, that was so bad.
No one wants to remember the Halo TV show because it wasn't good. No one cares anymore. It's over now. Yeah. Same thing's going to happen. Wheel of Time as well, I feel like, until season 2 comes out, no one's going to really care.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing with Rings of Power. Once the season's finished, everyone's going to go, wow, that was so... And those who loved it are going to forget about it in an instant because they're going to move on to the next thing that has all the sparkly lights and shiny things. And so... yeah, that's that.
Yeah, it has been interesting to just watch the whole process try and repeat itself, but also see how it has no substance. There's no substance in it, and it'll fail, okay? Because we call them out as well. They try and do it, then we're like, look at this hypocrisy. That gets shared even more, and they're going to lose. And look, what if episode 4 of Rings of Power is good? If it is, guess what? We'll acknowledge it. But if it's the same people who made this, the first 3 episodes, the same talent on display, I don't have high hopes.
Also, I think at this point the plot is so scattered and there's so many... they couldn't fix it.
Yeah, it's broken.
It's too late now.
Especially episode 3, there are so many broken things with this mark of Sauron that are Galadriel.
Yeah. It's too late now, unfortunately.
It's dead. The show is dead, okay? You're not coming back from the chasmic-sized plot holes you've made, the just devastatingly awful, unlikable character of Galadriel.
Well, the fact that, at the start of each episode, they're in a place, and at the end of the episode, they're back at the place. There's no through line.
There's been barely any, true progression.
Yeah.
There's been little bits, but nothing great. Like Galadriel, she has found out that Sauron is in the Southlands from looking at the mark that she had in the first episode. She couldn't figure it out in the first episode.
If she just turned it around, looked at a map, because she is a traveller, she goes around places, she would think of this. No.
See,
no.
And anyway, check out our reviews if you want to see how redundant so much of the stuff is. There's so much you can cut, or the terrible writing and dialogue. And also thank you for joining us for the video to just see what the Kobo. By the way, I guess to end this off, right? They have gone all out in this Kobo, right? I have not seen this many articles about people saying it's just racist people attacking everything than any other media. They're like, if you look at, there are so many articles trying to do this type of defense. It just feels like Amazon's paying a lot of people in my mind.
Because every time there's a marketing thing out, there's 18 articles, all in the same, and they're also the same thing.
Yeah, it seems like it. So the defense and cope is real, but they're flailing, they're drowning, and they're just like, what can we do this? Like, you can't. You've made a crap show. This is the bed, lie in it, and we will... I guess just watch the bonfire as it happens, and you get your just desserts. Amazon.
Yeah. So don't be deceived by all these comments that people are saying that, but don't be, because I think what they want as well, they want division.
Yes.
They like the controversy. They like the conflict. Don't let it happen. Be unified. Actually work together. Be fans together, and enjoy the good stuff. And don't get divided by the conflict that they like to stir up and create, because they're doing it with everything, with Marvel, with Star Wars, with Lord of the Rings, all that sort of stuff. Don't let them do that. That's what they want.
Alrighty, thank you for joining with us, and as always, stay on watch.